Hey everybody, welcome back to Mars. Last episode was a little bit different. We did a recap episode and went through the entire facility. So we're going to go ahead and get back into the swing of things. Behind me is the bridge crane where we left off in episode 49, and I want to get automating this guy. Alright, so through the warehouse here and in the store we had the elevator controls. I just expanded the wall up here to the ceiling, and now we've got some space to do our bridge crane controls, so let's just go ahead and dive in. Alright, no new members for the billboard this week, but if you would like to join, there should be a join button down below. Unless you're on iOS, then you got to be in a browser. And make sure you guys join the Discord. We've got a race event going on, we've got a lunar module build, and the apartment modules are still going strong. We still have plenty of empty bays to fill. Otherwise, please like, comment, and subscribe. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I got my refill station and cargo access, and I actually got a light up here, so hopefully it shows up well on the camera. This time I'm prepared, hopefully. I want to do a little experiment. Let's go ahead and I'll just add it to the outside, actually. Let's grab a event controller. Let's see, can I put like a scaffold up here? Let's do that. Oh, there we go. Something like that, maybe. It's a little too high, but if we go lower, obviously we've got blocks in our way. That's just going to cut off halfway into the elevator controls. That's not going to work. So I think we'll do something like this. That'll work. Alright, I'm probably putting way too much work into this than I should, but we're going to have a nice catwalk up here so I don't have to waste so much hydrogen. Of course, my light's in the way. Alright, there we go. Now we got a working platform. Now I need a control panel. Of course. Alright, before I get too far, I need to go rename these guys. Let's see, what did we call this one? Is this bridge A or B? This is B, okay. Do I have anywhere to put a letter? Maybe. Does a letter stick there? Actually, it'll get in the way of that, won't it? Okay, never mind. I don't know why I have a Kermit voice. Let's go rename the connector. Alright, there we go. Got the connectors renamed. Now we can go over here and do a little experiment. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but that's why we test. Alright, so I got these connectors ready and connector locked, so let's go ahead and set that up. Let's see, connector ready. There we go. And we want to use one of the connectors. I guess the bottom would be B. Oh, great. I can't see the end. Well, that's fun. Okay, well, at least they're in alphabetical order. That wasn't so bad. Okay, for the setup actions, it's just going to turn the test light on and off. Alright, and this one is the actual connector locked, unlocked. I guess I should have changed it from like green to black would probably have been the best thing to do, so we could actually see it being on and off. Unlock, switch lock, there it is. Switch lock on that connector there. Let's go ahead and switch it. So it is ready. And we connect, it's still ready. Even though we're connected, it's still ready. That's interesting, that's what I wanted to know. Alright, well that's interesting. I guess I thought this guy would turn off of like ready to connect when the connector actually connected. So it stays ready the whole time until the connector is, the container is completely out of the way, which is good news. This is going to be a lot easier than I thought. I thought maybe we'd have to put either a sensor or we would have to put some type of, well, I'm hoping we don't have a glitch out that it's there and it doesn't say it's ready to connect and we can't connect. Because sometimes that happens with these inset connectors, but should be okay in theory if the game is working correctly. That we can use these as sensors, so when they're ready, whether they're connected or not, it knows there's a container here. So that's what I'm going to use that for. So we only need to have 6 event controllers for that. That's not so bad. Now let's go ahead and lower this guy down here just to give it a test. I want to make sure that that is the case, that when this guy moves out of the way and we can move it back in. So let's get our angles correct here. So we need to come down, let's see, we're pretty much flush, yeah, with here. So we need to come down 2.5, 5 meters, and then just a little bit more because of the half block. But we might be okay because we've got a little bit of distance here with the mag plate, and then there's some, you know, gap that you can have for the mag plate to still lock on. So let's just do 5 meters to come down. So we're going to have one of these guys go 2.5 meters, and the other one will just be a mirror of it. I think I've got the angles calculated here. Let's see if we're right. Let's go in warehouse. Oops, I can learn to spell. Let's see, our hinges here, they're not going to be, yeah, we had negative 45. They need to be negative 31.5. We're close. And then the pistons need to extend, not 1.5, 1.4. Now let's go ahead and reverse the hinges first. Just so we're not running into the wall with the pistons. We'll get them timed eventually. And let's see how close my math was. Okay, not quite enough. I think my math was okay, but it wasn't quite as much mag lift as I would have thought would be gap in between there, because we've come down the right amount to get 5 meters, but we need to go more to actually hook onto the container. Okay, well, that's easy enough. Well, that looks like it's perfect. I can't tell if it's pushing up, though. It doesn't appear to be. I think we're okay. Okay, I think we got it. Let's go ahead and... Oh, yeah, actually, we could put the controls right here. This would look really good. Like, permanently. We could put them right here. Let's see. Let's not do red. Eventually, we'll get timers and stuff for this, but let's go warehouse. Let's make some groups. We'll lock them. Let's go ahead and do our pistons first. We're not having a strength. Oh no, we're still connected. That's why. This needs to have a connector. Now let's go ahead and pick that sucker up. We might be a little too close, huh? That is not stable at all. I wonder if I have inertial tensors and stuff on. That is a good question. Let's go find those. Hinge share inertial tensor is on. We might as well hinge lock, I guess. It is mag plated, so it shouldn't be a problem. I don't really get the bobbing instability here. Share inertial tensor's on there. Just gonna bob. I mean, I guess it's full of a bunch of material, but this one does not have it on, right? Yep, share inertial tensor off there. Maybe I'll turn it off there. Nope, that's dumb. Definitely need it there. Okay, well, I think it's just going to be wobbly. Let's not do this connector. Let's do the piston here. I think would be the better one. Let's reverse the long piston. I think would be better. Yeah, I think it's just going to be wobbly no matter what we do, because we got so much weight in it. Is it trying to... I think it's trying to mag on there. I think that might be the problem. Let's disable the strength here. I think the connector magnetism here is pulling it as it's going up. I think that might be part of the problem. So let's go ahead and disable that and see if this looks any better. Oh yeah, that's a lot smoother. It's not nearly as bad there. My game is hitching a little bit, but that's as to be expected with how crazy this place is. Okay, then we'll have to figure out a new height for the truck. And then we'll have to figure out if we can back all the way up. It would be nice to back all the way up, and so we'll have to change our piston. No, because we can't back all the way up, can we? Because I think this guy is actually longer than the truck. Oh no, this is above. The container will be above this piece, so we're okay. So we can back all the way up and hit that backstop there. That's fine. We'll have to just mess with our piston lengths. That should probably connect right there. We might want to come just a little bit forward. So now we need to figure out our heights here. Alright, so we need to come down 7-ish blocks. 7.5 blocks. So let's go ahead and plug that into our little calculator. All we're having to do is change the height, so that's kind of nice. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know why it's so wobbly though. I can't figure that one out. Is it because these need to be not share inertial tensor? No, that didn't really help. I don't know why it's so jittery. I can't really figure that out, other than it might be just the sheer amount of stuff we have on here. Did the truck shift? I feel like the truck shifted. I feel like we were perfectly aligned here. There. That's annoying. But okay. Well, I think we're just going to have to deal with the jitteriness, but our distances work, so that's happy. Which means we can reverse this guy up. Does it hit here? Is that going to be a problem? Oh, that is a problem. That's why we're having so much problem with this stuff, is it's hitting on that piece as we're coming up. So we need to lift it from a little bit further back. Yeah, we're not quite there in the back anyway. Let's go ahead and drop it down. Okay, let's unlock it. Let's just get it out of our way real quick. Let's see if we are as far back as we can. Do the old trucker trick and just slam on the brakes and have it slide forward. Lock that guy on. That's as close as we're going to get it to the truck, so we're going to use that as our worst case scenario. I think that's as close to perfect as I can get it. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay, that is good there. Now we need to make sure that this guy is behind the line, so let's go ahead and grab it back. Let's see, is that too much? I feel like that might be okay. Let's lower this guy down and see what it looks like. Okay, no, I think that's good. Yeah, we're not quite aligned, I guess. Maybe we do need to have a truck alignment clamp on here like we do on the other one. I really like this yellow line though. That's alright. Okay, now when we lift it up, we are still on the truck. That was stupid. Alright, well, we have the power to lift the entire truck. We learned that. Oops. Should have unlocked that. Now we're going to be able to set back in there without, nope. Are we on park still? Is that going to be a problem? Yup. I'm just going to make all the errors today. Okay. Detached. Now let's lift. That's better. And now it's tucking in there. That's good. Because we are behind the piston, so that's good there. It's just going to be wobbly, apparently. And then we'll come back. So that angle was good. Let's go ahead and record that before we lose it. Alright, I think I've got all of our hinge lengths here. I just did 0 for the piston, obviously at the top. We just need to come down just a little bit with the angle to get it down, because there's that half block distance. Alright, I got rid of the test stuff, and then I've got this guy on the center line, because this is going to be our B. Got the 3 event controllers here. This is going to detect the connectors. I don't know if we need to use the ready to lock or the locked. So let's go over here, and I'll show you why. I need to get the depth here all the way down, but as we're coming up and down, as this guy passes, you see that goes yellow, and then it turns on and off again. So right now, it's thinking that it can connect, but that's only because this guy's here temporarily. He needs to drop down, so I don't want it to be like he gets all the way over here, and then it's given the command to drop down, and now it thinks there's a container full because that guy is detecting. So we're probably going to have to use connected to do this, so that's going to be interesting. But I guess the top one being ready, we don't necessarily need for unloading, because we're unloading and that top is full. That's on us, that we're unloading a truck and we can't see that this guy is already full. We don't need quite as much error detection as in the other warehouse. So we should be okay. We'll, let's go play with it and see what this is going to do. I'm trying to make this one as least complicated as possible, but still have it somewhat automated. So let's go ahead and drop that one down. It has all of our material in it, and I feel a little nervous having it just hang up there in space. So this guy needs to go to -30. Pistons need to go to the 1.485. Okay, we are safely on the ground. That's good. Let's unlock it and get these guys to go back up. Alright, let's drill out to get some timers. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. This is going to be the unload sequence this way, and then the load sequence this way. I think we'll be fine, or vice versa. I don't know which one. Let's start with the load on the top. For some reason, that makes more sense to me. So for the load, we're going to have 3 timers, and that's for the positions. It needs to go to the top, the middle, and the bottom. And so that we're going to set up the distances here. And we're going to go ahead and do the same over here, because I think we're going to need to turn certain ones on and certain ones off as it goes. Alright, so we're going to count this as our 0 position. This guy is always going to be retracted to here. In our 0 position. So to load, we just need to drop down to the container and then we'll lift back up. So to drop down, we're going to either go to 1, 2, or 3. We're definitely always going to have to go to 1 to load. There's going to be something there. So we'll trigger that in our start sequence. And then we need to trigger the other 2 that may or may not be on or off if the other stuff is full. Alright, I'm trying to plan this out in my head to make sure we have enough space. So we need to have 3 timers. This is going to go down to the level. So we're going to go down to the top, then the middle, then the bottom, and we're going to turn ones off as we need to. And then we will need to lift up and also go to the truck, which I think we can do at the same time. We're going to do that in 1 timer, which we could use an event controller for like extension and not, but I'm going to go ahead and just use timers. I think it's easier. So it's going to go get to there, and then it's going to lower to the truck, and then we have to wait for some time to lower to the truck, so we need another one. So let's see, we're going to lower down, we wait, then we lift back up, and then go over to the truck. this guy will lower it onto the truck. And once it's at the truck, we unlock and lift away and go home. But we have to lift away and get our hooks back. We might be able to do that fast enough, I wonder. If we have the hook lift fast enough to get out of the way before the piston retracts for this, head here to hit. Because we've got that much distance to cover, so we'll have that, like, piston that goes across go pretty slow. So I'd like to just get that done in one action. So let's see. 1, 2, 3 down positions, then that goes over to the truck, that drops to the truck, and then this unlocks it and lifts away, and we should be good. That should be it. So let's go ahead and try this. I'm gonna go ahead and move that. We need that closer to us. So we're gonna go our load bottom, setup actions. This is where we want to do our hinges. We need to figure out a speed, now that I say that. I actually feel pretty good where they are. They're not exact, but I don't really care to have it that precise. As long as the piston retracts before it hits that, which it doesn't really. Yeah, we need to dial in that a little bit better than what it is. So let's see, the pistons, let's do 0.3 instead of the 0.25. That's pretty close. I'm okay with that. It kind of clips into there, but it actually doesn't have any physical clipping. There we go. Looks a little bit better in monospace. Everything's all lined up. Let's go ahead and, let's see. Is that a good place to pick? I don't know. I never know. Okay, we're going to start from the load from the top. We're going to find our hinges. All right, hinges B, rotate to angle. Hook B, we're just going to do 0, even though we don't need to. We're going to do it set to 0 at 0.3. And then these guys are actually going to trigger the other two as well. All right, it's going to try to trigger the load middle, and it's going to try to trigger the load bottom, which those may or may not be off. And then the next thing we need to do is lift and extend. So we're going to go ahead and start that one. Okay, so we got all of those positions. Now we need to, we would need to lock, which we can do that at the lift and extend. So we can do that here. I don't know the timing on it. We're going to leave it at 10 seconds for now. All right, so we need to lock the landing gear there, and then we need to do our hinges to a rotate to angle, -90 at 2. And then we need to extend our piston here. I'm just going to do extend, and then we will mess with the speed ourselves. Okay, then lower to the truck, it's going to be extended out there, so then we need to extend our pistons and our hinges. I think that's all that one needs to do, is it's just going to extend down to the truck, and again, we're going to have a delay that I don't know what it is. And then we'll probably have some other ones to like turn on and off the other sequences, so we're not loading and unloading. Actually, we can do that. Let's do that right now. So load top is the start of our sequence, so we're going to turn that guy back on. And then back in here in load top, after we're done here, we want to remove that. All right, lift and extend. I'm going to leave a blank spot here because it's also going to turn off the unload sequence, so we can't start it until it's done. Okay, now we need to have our event controllers here for our connectors. Turn on and off our various timers. Okay, so if there is one at the top, we want to turn off the middle from being turned on, and if there is a middle one, it's going to turn off the bottom. And there definitely should be a middle one before there's a top one, so that should trigger. So the middle will turn off the bottom load. Let's see, load bottom, where are you? There you are. So it'll turn it off, otherwise it'll turn it back on. And then the top here, if it has something, it is turning the middle off, then on. This is for the bottom B, add that one. This is for the middle B, for the top B. There we go. Okay, looks like those are triggering correctly. Let's go ahead and lower them down again. Sometimes you got to cycle it through to get the event controllers to know their current state. So that's doing its thing, and so it's going to trigger all of them. So we trigger this guy, it's going to trigger this one, and then trigger this one to go to the bottom, which is fine, which is what we want. All right, our loading on the top, what we need to do before we go into here is we need to unlock our connector. And then in the middle, it needs to unlock the middle. All right, I think we've got everything set up. Let's go ahead and lock this connector so it's true test here. Ready to lock, it's locked. The truck is ready. I think we're good to go. I've got the load here. Let's go ahead and do it. Okay, it is going all the way down to the bottom because that is the last timer to get triggered. Yeah, it's going to wait 10 seconds, which is probably fine. Yeah, we unlocked, so that's good. It's not quite lifting evenly, which is a little strange. That's definitely slow. I don't know why it's so wobbly. I haven't had this problem before, but it's also full of a bunch of material, so that might be it. We might need to have more power on our hinges. Did we not do the other trigger? I don't think we did. I think we failed over here. It did turn itself off, but I don't think we had the other one start the other cycle. Alright, I don't think we did this right. We had the lift and extend, and I don't think we set up the start timer. We did not. So we need to go find that other timer that's going to lower it to the truck. That should have been started. Then they lower it to truck. We probably missed that one too. Yep, that's alright. We probably needed longer than 10 seconds anyway. That guy was really slow going over. Let's change that. I think that can be 0.5. Let's try that. You are still so wobbly. Now we want the lower to the truck. Let's go ahead and just trigger that one now. Oh. Oh. We're definitely going to get some truck clamps on here because this guy is getting beat up here by our hook, which I guess I probably increased all that stuff. What is smoking? Something is smoking. Oh, it's you. Alright, well that was definitely really violent on the truck. I think I've got it reset. We're definitely going to have some truck clamps in here like we have on the other one. They'll have to be a little bit different, that they kind of poke up and clamp it over, but yeah, this guy needs to be aligned better than it is, for sure, for this guy to load up properly. So now let's go ahead and do the unload sequence. So we know we need to go over to the truck and lower down and get it. So let's go ahead and get all of our timers in. Alright, so this should be the opposite of what we have. We're going to go down to the truck. We're going to wait a tick. And we're going to grab it and lift it away. This one we're going to have to probably lift and get all the way to the top before we start retracting, because it's not just the hook, it's the whole container. So that's going to have to lift up to the top, and then it'll start going back. It will start lowering down to each one of the 3, and then it's going to unlock and go home. So I think it just has the one extra because we're going to wait a little bit longer. Okay, so the first one we're going to go is extend and lower to truck. We shouldn't have anything in the top position, because we're unloading for the truck and that stack is full, we're gonna have problems anyway. So that unload needs to be extending and down. We'll just make sure that the piston goes out as the hook goes down, which is fine. We can set the speed instead of doing an extend and retract. We can mess with that. So if the bottom is occupied, we don't want to lower to the bottom, and so we need to have this guy unload to the bottom. It needs to be turned off, otherwise it can be turned on. And again, if the middle position is occupied, we need to turn the unload middle off and then on. And I think that should work. We're gonna have to get multiple containers over here, so we're probably gonna have to drive back to the main base to grab another container, or we'll build another one to get this guy to work. Let's see, are we unlocked from the truck? We are unlocked from the truck, that's good. All right, let's go ahead and give this a shot. I did do a longer timer for going back, well, actually, before it starts unloading down, to make sure it's actually retracted. I gave it like 20 seconds, so hopefully that's long enough. We'll find out. I might be going a little too fast down. Kind of scrapes across, but it's alright, I guess. Okay, it's lifting. It's awfully wobbly, though. Do we have all of our inertial tensors and stuff on? No. We did not turn those back on. These should not be used for parking. Excuse me, sir? Okay, well, I got all the way down to the bottom. That's a good thing. It should unlock and lift away. There we go. Yeah, I think we're good. We just need to go get some more. And it did connect. It connected back. Good. We need to go back to base and get some more containers, or we need to make more. I think we're going to go back to base at least. We have more materials over there anyway, so we'll at least build another one over there. Let's go and unpark, and let's go grab another container from the main base. Oh, it's so cool to see all the work that we've done, even at night. It's pretty cool. Let's see, we need to cross over to the other side, though. That looks like a good spot. I guess these truck clamps only take a 3x4 area anyway, so that's probably perfect. It'll just get rid of our nice floor pattern that we had, but that's alright. Let's see, truck clamp. Wow, I did not think I was going to be that spot on, but okay. Sweet, got that guy loaded. Let's go ahead and disconnect. That should lock that guy back up. Yep. We are good to go. I love that solar facility over there. It's so nice. So simple, but nice. Alright, we're back. Let's go ahead and get loaded into our bay here. Wonder if I have a blueprint of that, I feel like I should, of that truck clamp. So I had to recreate it 2 times, so I think I made a blueprint. Okay, we're parked up, we're good. We need to unlock the thing. We don't have that automated. There we go, unlock, and we need to detach. There we go. Weird, it changes our view, but okay. Okay, container is detached, and let's go over here. We should have... Yes, we have a timer off, so we can't unload to the bottom position because that guy is off, which is exactly what we wanted. So this guy turned it off because he's in the proximity. So we should be able to unload on the top of it, and it should go to the middle. So let's go ahead and do our unload sequence again and see if this is going to work. All right, unload. Yeah, I didn't change any settings there, so it's still going to just scrape across the top, but whatever. Okay. Oh, it's definitely a lot more stable when there's not so much weight in there. That's definitely what the what the problem is. This got just everything in it. That still feels... That's probably a decent speed, to be honest, because when they're full, they're awfully wobbly. Okay, and that guy in theory would turn one of them off, but it doesn't matter. Okay, good. The height's good, so that's really nice. There we go. Alright, well that unloaded perfect. Let's go over to our controls. I should probably have a better way to walk over there, but whatever. Alright, so we are good over here, so we cannot unload to the middle and the bottom. It's only going to do the top unload, and then over here, to load to the truck, we can't load the bottom because the middle is occupied. So it'll go to the top, then the middle, and then stop, and then otherwise we would load to the top. Alright, I want to go ahead and unload from the truck again. I'm just going to go ahead and trigger this, and I want to watch it from our stuff here. There we go. It does turn these 2 off, so we can't load or unload while it's in sequence. That sounded pretty harsh over there. What do we got going on? I don't know. It's working. Okay. Weird. Okay, timers are ticking. That's good. Okay, so it is extending back over. That's the 20-second timer, and then it's going to trigger this one, which is lower to the top. Then it'll lower to the middle. It's not going to do the bottom because it's occupied. Alright, then that one is triggered. Timed, so it'll come out in 10 seconds to lift back up to the top. There we go. And these ones are back to green, and we are ready to load and unload again. Alright, that is working. We just need to mess with the timings to get it a little bit more dialed in, but I'm kind of okay with it. It takes a little bit of time, and then we need to get some truck clamps and get the other side programmed. Alright, I got the other side, well, installed. I haven't set anything up on the event controllers and timers, but at least they're in there and named. So now we've got our control wall done. Let's go ahead and work on the truck clamp, though. We don't need to rehash that stuff again. Get that guy pulled out of the bay there, and then let's start filling this guy out. Alright, there we go. There is our 2 pits for our clamp. So let's go ahead and get some rotors in here. I believe that's what I used. Alright, there is our truck clamp. Let's see if we... Oh, we're actually really close on projecting. There we go. That is right, and then there is a landing gear back here, so let's go weld over to it, probably. Right, there we go. We are clamped to the frame, and now we can just go ahead and weld all this stuff up, and I'll be back when that's done, because this is going to be a little bit of a slog. Okay, that one's attached to the right thing. That one's attached to the right thing. That one's attached to the right thing. Yay! Okay. We are landing geared on, so I could disconnect this real quick. But can I get access to anything? I don't have a control panel. Let's go get one. Okay, there we go. We got 3 timers back here. I don't know what they're set up with. I hope they're the right things, but I'm gonna have a hard time finding them. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this. Detach. There we go. And we should have access to everything. There we go. Okay, clamp start, disconnect truck, unclamp delay. Let's go ahead in here, and we should be able to rename stuff. It's just going to be the group that we're going to have a problem with. So we can rename this, and that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, well, it actually doesn't ever use the group, so we don't need either of those. So let's go ahead and just delete them. Because in here, when it's clamping the truck, it is doing all 3 at once, and then it is starting the next one. And so that delay here is going to then drop the 2 side hinges down, but this one is just for the connector. That just needs to lock the connector. And then when it disconnects the truck, it is unlocking the connector. And then setting that velocity of the connector hinge back down. Alright, well, I either forgot to hit record or it crashed or something. I don't know. I have this thing on my screen that says I'm recording, and I don't know what happened. Don't know where we left off. We'll figure it out. But I had to move this guy back 1 block. So this guy is floating out back here instead of right here where it was. And that is because that piston there did not have enough reach to line up with the truck right here. So move this guy all back 1 so the clamp is still aligned, the connector is still aligned, all that is still good. And it can back up to this backstop. And this guy can actually extend out and reach it. So it is perfectly aligned. Now we just got to get this guy welded up. And then we'll just make sure this guy attaches to that one, and we should be good. So, it's going to take me a little bit to weld this up. Let me go ahead and weld it up, and then we'll come back. Alright, there we go. I think I've got everything welded up. Now we just need to get this backstop on, and so that is what these guys are for. Yeah, that one's not going to like us because of the railing. I might get rid of the railing. I have a truck there anyway. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Alright, there we go. I think we are good on the backstop. Now we need to get this stuff in. This is all different because I had to move it up. Yeah, so we just need to get the truck clamp on there. Let's make sure we attach the right thing this time. There we go. Everything's coming up. 5 seconds later, those guys should drop down. That guy stays. Disconnect truck. Should just drop back down. Right, there we go. We have 2 working truck clamps. Let's go ahead and get some interior plate, I guess, and then get these blocks back in here. Okay, there we go. Hopefully I didn't miss too much footage. I don't know. We got this guy set up, and it's actually at 9.9. So can we reach this piston? It's tricky to try to get exactly to it. There it is. So this guy needs to be 9.9, and it is good for the extension out to the truck there. Yeah. So now I just need to get this guy set up, but I can do that off camera because it's just going to be a repeat of what we had on the control wall over here. Yeah, I just need to get this, what are there, 12, 13 timers and 3 event controllers set up to match this side over here. It's not too bad. And then we'll have a working warehouse. But instead of watching me do that again, let's go over and make a new module. Alright, so here is another module. This one is the UAC-m-m-br by Luke03. So this guy has a lot of subgrids in it. In fact, when I tried to blueprint it onto the projector, it wanted to do the small grid because it's the most components on it. So it wanted to project that. So I just went ahead and pasted this guy in. I don't feel bad about it. Let's go ahead and take a tour. All right, well, let's take a little tour around the outside. We'll just walk dangerously on the wrong side of the railing. Why not? We got some big windows and some piping. Got some parts hanging out on the outside. Oh, nice little balcony thing. More windows, more use of the pipes. I like it. All right, let's tour the inside here. Okay, well, here's where the small grid starts, I guess. We've got a nice little bookshelf with some plushies. I like it. Got our living room with a big TV. Oh, a little bit of like a kitchenette thing. I guess mini bar or something for your living room. You got your coffee machines, refrigerator, and a microwave. Nice use of these armor panels up here for the venting. That's pretty nice. Here is the little mini airlock out to the balcony. Very cool. And then here is the bedroom. It looks like we got a bookshelf and a little couch. Nice. We've got plushies under the bed. Love it. All right, I like the use of the light ring here. That looks pretty cool. We got different buttons. What does this guy do? The floodlights on and off. And then the other light on and off. Okay, well, that's not too bad. And then there is our bathroom. Very nice. I like it. Very solid submission. Let's go ahead and find a spot for it. We need more on the inside, so I'm going to go ahead and put it here in this middle slot here. I probably should have come in from the other side, but that's alright. Actually, it's all half block on the top and bottom, so it's really easy to maneuver into the spot here. This is actually kind of nice. Drifting a little bit, and I think that's probably because of the subgrids, but other than that, it's working out. I don't really know how long this guy is, though, so I'm a little scared. Okay, there we go. We're snapped on. Hopefully it didn't mess with the subgrids too much. Alright, let's just head in the balcony here and see how it looks. Alright, I think we're good. We're not pressurized, but I also don't see a vent inside, so we've got that. Alright, well, turns out we are not pressurized, so let's go ahead and find the problem. I guess it's behind this screen. Let's go outside and figure out what that is. Well, that'll do it. Let's just get rid of that and put in a half block. Alright, well, we had a leak here with the beam block, but looks like we have others, so that's fun. Yeah, out the bottom here. Let's just go ahead and replace... let's just replace these three with sloped variants. Go. Another leak, it's probably on the top. Let's grab that color before we get too excited. Okay, there we go. Now we're finally pressurized. All right, well, luckily I had that bulkhead closed. We didn't vent out the entire base, but just this little spot. So that was alright. So we are pressurized. We are good. Alright, let's go do another one. Alright, next up we have the Lab Module / Medbay by Astro Andromeda. Let's go ahead and see if we have materials on the base to weld this guy up. Well, we definitely missed some blocks up here on the top. I don't know if it's just a timing thing. It's like a timing thing. It looks like it dropped the material in there. So let me go through and patch all this up, and then we'll do a tour. Alright, well, I got it all patched up. Let's go and take a look. Alright, we got a vent. We are depressurizing. Let's go ahead and turn that to pressurize, because we're going to be connecting to the base. So it has an airlock. We don't necessarily need that. Let's go ahead and walk through. Got another door over here. Okay, we got a med bay. We've got a cryo chamber. A vent and a bed. And some lab equipment around. Cargo access, that's nice. Nice big window out the front. That's really cool. And then a laboratory desk. I like the use of the tank back here. Alright, very cool. Now we gotta find a place to put this, because we have a few med bays around the base now. So let me figure out where the other two are, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so there we go. This building B is the other med bay, and then we've got one down here, which is this guy right here, as our med bay, and then we've got our clinic obviously at the top. So where do we want to put this guy? I'm thinking mid-level, maybe right here would be a good spot. Alright, I went ahead and just took out the wall section there, and hopefully we can get this guy fit in sideways. That's my hope. We'll see how this goes. It's gonna be a tight squeeze, because I think these are full block height. That's gonna be fun. Alright, slowly but surely it's coming in there. I had to take off the bottom row, but I think it's gonna work. Oh, it's wobbling like it wants to connect. Ooh. I think we're good. I think we're good and we didn't break anything. Well, other than we had to tear out the wall, but that's fine. Before we get the wall back on there, let's inspect for damage. I think we're okay, though. I don't know how. It looked like it was a little violent where it snapped in, but I think we're okay. Okay then. Well, I got a bunch of wall to fill in, and I put all my steel plate away. You know what? We can probably just grind this off. We don't need our color palette anymore. Let's just get some free steel plates right here. Alright, there we go. I think the welder is actually back at the main base because of the tour, so I might just weld that up by hand. It's probably going to be the easier thing to do. Let's go ahead and send this ship back home. Alright, well, this is where I'm going to call it an episode. I've got other stuff to do this week. Got work and some other projects going. We've got this bridge crane automated. We got a couple more modules built. I think it was fairly successful. We'll see how the editing goes and what footage I lost. But other than that, please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys later.